Welcome to Kaleidoscope is for IG. Let's talk. May 2009 is when the civil war that ravaged Sri Lanka for nearly 30 years ended. It has been 14 years. Looking back, what has changed? Were the root causes ever addressed? Have we embarked on peace building and reconciliation? Researcher and author Sarah Kabir has been on Kaleidoscope before and has delved into some complex cultural contexts. In her book Voices of Peace and in her research work, she had discussions with war victims, military personnel, rebel groups, refugees, public and private organizations, as well as international and local NGOs. And right now she's working on a documentary project, Project 72. So Sarah, welcome. Good to have you on the show once again. Now, it's been 14 years since the civil war ended in Sri Lanka. What narratives have you noticed that haven't changed?
I think the obvious one is the victor's narrative. I think as we saw in May earlier this year, there was still that sort of flamboyancy in the way we sort of celebrate the end of the war. It's still very much a very one-sided, polarized way, right? And I think of the narratives that have sort of been sustained for the last 14 years, it's this idea that we've won without an acknowledgement of the fact that this war was fought between Sri Lankans and there was really no victory when you think about it, when you actually really sort of empathize with the parties who were involved in the conflict.
How do we change this?
This time, when I saw what happened in Viharamadevi Park with the Mulivaikal sort of remembrance, and then you saw the sort of victory celebrations, and you're just like, this is so polarized. But what about like a 2-minute silence, 2-minute maybe lights out, light a lamp, where everyone in Sri Lanka comes together and does a small memorial like that. It could be for someone you lost during the war. It could be just about the war. It could be, okay, the war finished, I'm happy about it, whatever it is. But I feel like it's such a simple thing.
You would think that after a 30-year war, a country would veer towards racial harmony. But Sri Lanka hasn't done this. Why?
One is education. When I say education, I don't mean, high level sort of, I don't mean it in that way. I mean a simple understanding of our history since independence. What were the root causes of conflict? I think if we were to understand that, we'd be able to veer more towards the, right way of reconciling between the two communities. That is one. And then there's obviously the political sort of how in politics it is used, whenever they need to, you'll see this sort of using of nationalism, majoritarianism. It gets used whenever it's necessary. The best way moving forward, what we can control maybe is through educating ourselves and understanding what the root causes of this conflict was. If we understand that, we'll be able to actually focus on non-recurrence.
What are the major obstacles that stands in the way of reconciliation in today's context?
Understanding why the Tamils felt that some Tamils felt that they had to take up weapons. Why did we push a particular Sri Lankan community to feel that there was no way out but taking up weapons? That is one of the things I think we need to, which not having that understanding I think is an obstacle. And then politics, like I said, and to be honest though, as much as I say politics can also be blamed, I think a lot of this blame can be taken on us as well as citizens, because I've noticed when we ask for the right thing, the politicians do respond in a way. So I feel like if you look at the Rajapaksa dynasty, they were pretty much responsive to what people wanted. They wanted that majoritarianism narrative, and that's what we got. If we want to see a change, I always believe that the change needs to start with us.
Do you think we are ready to tackle racial harmony, so to speak?
Some reason I feel like the last month signals that something is brewing again. So this shows, we can have these temporary moments of, everybody holding hands and feeding each other at Ramadan and all of that. But that is just very glossy on the surface. That's what we saw last year. That didn't mean we had addressed any of our grievances and the root causes of, why we are this way. There is a little bit of hope that the younger generation is not easily, subverted by these sort of majoritarian narratives, and also the whole idea of monks in politics. You can see people are more, pushing against it now. So maybe there is a small positive change happening there. But then again, I feel like it's very easy to fan these flames when it's necessary. And you see that over this month. So I would take the positive we saw last year with a pinch of salt, because I don't think we've done the hard work, the true hard work.
Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. Subscribe and follow if you like our show.